Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Dr. Mangesh Dushing, working as assistant professor in chemistry at Maratha Vidyapeeth Samaj, Nashik. Friends, in last videos we have seen formation of sigma bond, formation of pi bond, hybridizations, various hybridizations, then properties of bonds like bond length, bond angle, then bond energies. In this video we will learn about intramolecular and intermolecular forces. So for designing the properties of the molecules, physical properties of the molecules, we should know the intramolecular as well as intermolecular forces which are present into the substances that we should know. So according to that, various physical properties of the molecules will get changed, friends. So in within the molecule, suppose one of any molecule, there are some forces, attractive forces and repulsive forces are there. Those forces are called as intramolecular forces. So within the molecule, the actual structure of the molecule, which is the net result of this combination of repulsive and attractive forces, which depends upon the charge and electron spin. So within the molecule, some attractive forces are there, some repulsive forces are there. So actual structure of that molecule is a result of this combination of repulsive and attractive forces, and that stability also depends upon this repulsive as well as attractive forces. So within the molecules there are some bonds. Suppose these are the two atoms. So some bond is present into these atoms. For example, this is the nuclei of this atom and this is the nuclei of this atom, while these are the electrons revolving around that one. Suppose the nucleus is positively charged because it contains protons. So positive charge. So both atoms have nucleus. So there will be the positive charge repulsion. Similarly, these electrons are negatively charged. So here is also negative charges are there. So repulsion is there. Similar charges, repulsion is there. Similarly, so these are called as repulsive forces. Similarly, electrons of the one atom are attracted by the nucleus of the another atom. Similar case here also, electrons of these atoms is attracted by the nucleus of the another atom because these are the opposite charges. Nucleus is positive charged while electrons are negatively charged. So these are called as attractive forces. So within the bond there are repulsive forces as well as attractive forces. When magnitude of attractive forces is more than the magnitude of repulsive forces, then energy decreased and bonding takes place. In opposite way, if the repulsive forces are more, then energy of the molecule increase and that bond will get break. So stability of the bond, it depends upon the repulsive as well as attractive forces. If attractive forces are more, then bond will be strong. If repulsive forces are there, bond will be weak. So depending upon next concept, we will see bond polarity. So friends, when two like atoms, means similar atoms, are joined by the covalent bond, then that shares electrons equally, such covalent bond is said to be a non-polar bond. So any bond is present into two similar atoms. For example, hydrogen molecule. So this sigma bond is there in between these two hydrogen atoms. So these are the similar atoms. So their electronegativity is also same. So whatever the sigma electrons, one electron from this atom, one electron from this atom, the sigma electrons are present within these two atoms. So these two atoms shares this sigma bonding electrons equally. So that bond is called as non-polar bond. Similarly, for this F2 molecule also, these are the sigma bonding electrons. So these sigma bonding electrons F both are similar electronegative atoms are there. So this sigma electrons shared by these two atoms equally. Similar case for this chlorine molecule also. So if similar atoms bonded with the sigma bond or single bond or any bond, then they shares electrons equally, then that bond is called as non-polar bond. In case of dissimilar atoms, dislike atoms, for example HCl. Now in case of HCl, these are the sigma bonding electrons, one electron from hydrogen, one electron from this chlorine. Now chlorine is more electronegative than hydrogen. Chlorine is more electronegative than hydrogen. So this pulls electrons towards this chlorine atom. So sigma electrons are not towards the hydrogen and chlorine equally, but they are more towards the chlorine atom because chlorine is more electronegative atom. So because of there is the charge separation, because electrons are negatively charged, so these electrons migrates towards the chlorine atom. So chlorine will have a partial negative charge, while hydrogen now becomes somewhat deficient of the electrons, so it will attain a partial positive charge. So now there is a charge separation. Electronegative atoms gain some negative charge while hydrogen will gain some positive charge. So this charge separation. So this is called as polar bond. When two dissimilar atoms forms a covalent bond, they shares electron pair unequally because more electronegative atom pulls electron towards itself. Thus that covalent bond becomes polar or partially ionic. So ionic bond, you know, that one atom is electropositive, one atom is electronegative. So same case happens over here in this covalent bond also. One atom will be electropositive while one atom will be electronegative. The charges are very small as compared to the full negative charge or full positive charge, but still this is called as partial ionic bond. Thus the covalent bond becomes polar or partially ionic, and that is said to be possess a polarity. Then we can say this molecule has a polarity because there is a charge separation. While H2 or F2 or Cl2, these molecules are non-polar molecules. They doesn't possesses a polarity, and this bond is also called as non-polar bond. But in case of dissimilar atoms, this bond is called as polar bond or partially ionic bond, and we can say that this molecule possesses a polarity. Now suppose water is a molecule. Now this polarity into the bond, that polarity into the bond that possesses into the molecule also. So molecule also becomes polar. For example, water is the molecule. So water contains two hydrogens, one oxygen. Now oxygen is more electronegative than hydrogen. So because of that one, this sigma bonds becomes polar because this electron pairs, this sigma bonding electron pair is more towards the oxygen atom because oxygen is more electronegative than hydrogen. Because of that one, this two sigma bond becomes polar. So the result is molecule also becomes polar. So water molecule is a polar molecule. So oxygen will gain a partial negative charge while hydrogen will get partial positive charge. Same in case of ammonia also. So ammonia, nitrogen is more electronegative than hydrogen. So sigma bonding electrons are more towards the nitrogen because nitrogen is more electronegative atom. So bond becomes polar. So similarly, ammonia molecule is also becomes polar. It has some polar character because nitrogen will be electronegative charge, partially electronegative charge, while hydrogens are partially electropositive charge. So the covalent bond having partial ionic character is stronger than the pure covalent bond. So in this case, the partial ionic character is generated. So ionic bonds are more stronger than the covalent bond. As the electronegativity difference goes on increasing, bond becomes more polar. These charges will be more stronger. So more polar, more ionic. As the strength of bond increases. So as the bond becomes more and more polar, as the electronegativity difference is more, then bond becomes more stronger because they have a more ionic character. So as the ionic character increases, bond strength is also increases. So in this case, oxygen is more electronegative than the nitrogen. So here electronegativity difference between hydrogen and oxygen is more than the electronegativity difference between hydrogen and nitrogen. That's why water is more polar than ammonia. So these bonds are more polar than ammonia. So in case of some bonds like HCl, HBr and HI, so electronegativity difference goes on decreasing here. In case of HCl, electronegativity difference is 0.9, in case of HBr 0.7, in case of HI 0.4. So ionic character goes on decreasing. as the electronegativity difference goes on decreasing, ionic character is also goes on decreasing. So similarly, bond energy also goes on decreasing. So we required a high electronegativity difference. So ionic character will be high and bond energy will be higher. Bond becomes more stronger. So ionic bonds are more stronger than covalent bond. Ionic compounds are more stable compounds than the covalent compounds. Their physical properties like boiling points and melting points of the ionic compounds also higher than the covalent bonds. So the bond polarity can leads to the polarity into the molecule, and that affects the melting point, boiling point as well as solubility, like that physical properties. So whatever the bond present in the molecule, if that polarity that leads to the polarity into the molecule also, so molecule also becomes polar. So that depend that where is the melting point, boiling point and solubility also. So we'll see the bond polarity, molecule polarity now. So polarity into the molecule. A polar molecule always constitutes a dipole charge separation because two equal and opposite charges are separated into the space. So if two equal and opposite charges are separated into the space, then that generates a dipole into the molecule. And if dipole is present in the molecule, those molecules are called as polar molecules. So that molecule will have polar characters. So the dipole denoted by the symbol arrow, where the arrow points towards the positive to negative end. So arrow head is towards the negative end while arrow tail is towards the positive end. For example, HF molecule. So in HF molecule, fluorine is more electronegative than the hydrogen. So fluorine pulls that sigma bonding electrons towards itself. So because of that one, fluorine will have partial negative charge while fluorine has partial positive charge. Sorry, hydrogen has partial positive charge. So from positive to negative. So this arrow shows a dipole. The dipole moment, the unit of the dipole moment, the dipole moment is showed by this mu symbol is equal to the magnitude of the charge. So whatever the charge multiplied by the distance d between the center of the charges. It is measured into the dBA. The unit is dBA and showed by the capital D. So whatever the dipole generated into the molecule, that showed by the dBA, that is the unit, while dipole moment is showed by the mu and charges. So the formula is mu is equal to E into D. So mu is the dipole moment, E is the charge into distance between that center of the charges. So mu is denoted by the D, that is dBA, D-E-B-Y-E, dBA, while E is the charge electrostatic unit and D is the distance between that charge separation, that is measured into the cm. So this dipole is measured into the dBA. For example, these are the molecules: H2 molecule, Cl2 molecule, O2 molecule, N2 molecule, like hydrogen, chlorine and oxygen and nitrogen molecule. So these atoms are bonded with the single bond, double bond or triple bond, but these bonds are present into the similar atoms. See, these are the similar atoms, similar atoms, similar atoms, similar atoms. So these bonding electrons are shared equally in between these two atoms, shared these bonding electrons in between these two atoms equally. So these bonds becomes non-polar bonds. So these molecules are called as non-polar molecules. So molecules like H2, O2, N2, Br2 or Cl2 have a zero dipole moment because there is no charge separation. That's why these molecules are called as non-polar, and these bonds are also called as non-polar bonds. Similarly, suppose HF molecule is there. Now HF molecule, there is a charge separation is there because fluorine is more electronegative than the hydrogen. So the dipole moment, this molecule possesses a dipole moment. So from electropositive hydrogen to the electronegative fluorine. So the molecule like HF consists of very high electronegative atom that pulls electrons strongly. Although d, that is the distance, is very small, but charge is very large. That's why mu is large too. So charge separation is large, that's why mu is large, that is dipole moment is large. So the formula of dipole moment just in last slide we saw, mu is equal to E into D. E is the charge, D is the distance. The distance between hydrogen center and fluorine center is very less, but charge separation is high, that's why dB is high. That's why dipole moment is high, non-zero dipole moment. Now we'll see the dipole moments in some molecules. For example, methane molecule. Now methane molecule is a somewhat spherical, tetrahedral geometry. So the bond angles are 109.5. So all bonds angle are 109.5. Carbon is more electronegative than hydrogen. So it pulls electron towards itself. But here equal and opposite charge separation is there. That's why this molecule becomes non-polar. So mu is equal to 0 dB. Mu is equal to 0 dB because that compensates equal and opposite. Here see this electrons pulls towards the carbon. This electron pulls towards the carbon. So actual charge separation is not there. That's why this molecule becomes 0 dipole moment and methane molecule becomes non-polar. Similar in case of carbon tetrachloride molecule also. Here chlorines are more electronegative atoms than the carbon. So this pulls electron towards the itself. But there is a compensation in between charge separation because equal and opposite. Here is also chlorine atom, here is also chlorine atom. This pulls electron towards itself, this pulls electron itself. So what will happen? Average charge separation will be 0. That's why mu is equal to 0. Carbon tetrachloride becomes non-polar molecule. So the polar character exactly cancel each other, compensate each other. That's why methane molecule is non-polar while carbon tetrachloride molecule is also non-polar. While in case of chloromethane, there is no charge separation, no compensation of the charges. So they will not cancel the charge separation. Now carbon is more electronegative than this hydrogen, so electrons pulls towards the carbon, while chlorine is electronegative than the carbon, so electron pulls towards the chlorine. So dipole moment is travels from these hydrogens to chlorine. That makes methyl chloride molecule is polar, so mu is not equal to 0. So it has a polar character. Mu is equal to 1.86 dB. So methyl chloride molecule is a polar molecule. So in case of ammonia, whatever the lone pair, it makes that molecule polar because electron pulls towards the electrons. So there is a dipole moment from hydrogen to the lone pair of electrons. So the dipole moment is equal to 1.46 dB. So ammonia molecule is a polar. Here you don't need to remember this dipole moment. Just need to need to understand the concept, how that molecule polarity changes. So ammonia molecule is polar. Water molecule is also polar molecules. Electron pulls electron towards itself. So hydrogen, this charge separation from hydrogen to the lone pair. So molecule becomes polar. It has some dipole moment. So mu is equal to 1.84 dB. Water molecule becomes more polar than ammonia. So dipole moment due to lone pair of the electrons in case of ammonia and water. Suppose that is trifluoroammonia. In case of this one, fluorine pulls electron towards the fluorine while electron pulls towards the this lone pair pulls electron towards itself. So there will be some compensation will be there because these electrons are migrated from the opposite side, but they are not equal, so they will not get compensated, but somewhat compensation will be there. That's why mu is not equal to 0, but mu is equal to 0.24 dB. So why this is less value as compared to the ammonia? Because in ammonia all electron migrates towards the only one side. That's why charge separation is very high. Mu is 1.46 dB. In case of The charges are migrated from towards the opposite side. One is towards the electrons lone pair, while second towards the fluorine atom. That's why some compensation will be there. That's why this polarity will be small as compared to the ammonia. So in this case, these polar bonds, presence of lone pairs, they generates dipole moment into the molecule, charge separation into the molecule, and molecule becomes polar. So now we will learn the intermolecular forces. So some attractive and repulsive forces are present into the two different molecules. Up to now we have seen that intramolecular forces. Now we will learn about intermolecular forces. The attractive and repulsive forces present into the two different molecules. The attractive forces that holds one molecule associated with the another molecule, that known as intermolecular forces. So there are two types of intermolecular forces. One is dipole-dipole interaction and second one is van der Waals forces. I will start one by one. So first one is dipole-dipole interaction. So in case of polar molecules like HF, HCl, HBr, there is a positive end at the hydrogen and the negative end at the electronegative atom like fluorine, chlorine and bromine due to large difference into the electronegativities. So because of that one, see here, for example, HCl is the molecule. So HCl is a polar bond. This molecule becomes polar. So hydrogen has partial positive charge, chlorine has partial negative charge. Similarly for another molecules also, same molecules. But because of that one, what will happen? This chlorine has a negative charge. If it comes close to the hydrogen, hydrogen has a negative charge. So there will be some attractive forces between these two opposite charges of the two different molecules. And they forms attractive forces and forms a partial ionic bond. That partial ionic bond is called as dipole-dipole interactions. So the negative end of the one molecule is attracted towards the positive end of the another molecule. That attractive forces are called as dipole-dipole interactions. So the definition is the positive end of the molecule is attracted by the negative end of the another molecule. Such attractive forces are called as dipole-dipole interaction. So these dipole-dipole interactions are mainly observed into the polar molecules because there is a charge separation. These dipole-dipole interactions are not observed into the non-polar molecules. So this is the characteristic property for the polar molecules only, that is dipole-dipole interactions, because in polar molecules only dipole is present. Now we will see the hydrogen bonding. Hydrogen bonding is also one type of dipole-dipole interaction. For example, water, alcohol. Now alcohol ROH, ROH. So oxygen is more electronegativity than the hydrogen. So this bond becomes polar. So oxygen will get partial negative charge while hydrogen will get partial positive charge because the sigma bonding electrons moves towards the oxygen. So oxygen will become partially electronegative charge. Similarly, this is also there. So hydrogen is electropositive and oxygen is electronegative. Now there is an attractive force between one alcohol molecule and another alcohol molecule because oxygen, that is electronegative atom of the one alcohol molecule, attracts the electropositive hydrogen atom of the another molecule. So these attractive forces are called as dipole-dipole interactions. But in this case, oxygen is very electronegative atom, highly electronegative atom, and hydrogen is one of the atom. Then these dipole-dipole interactions, attractive forces, partial bonds, partial ionic bonds are called as hydrogen bond. So similar case for water also. In water also oxygen is there and hydrogen is there. So electronegative oxygen of the one molecule is attracted towards the electropositive hydrogen of the another molecule, that forms a partial ionic bond, electrostatic bond, that is called as hydrogen bond. Similar in case of ammonia also. Ammonia, nitrogen is electronegative end and hydrogen is electropositive end. So electronegative end attracted towards the electropositive end of the another molecule. That's why this bond is called as hydrogen bond. So the definition of hydrogen bond is the special type of dipole-dipole attractive forces. When hydrogen is at the positive end and it is attracted by the highly electronegative atoms such as fluorine, oxygen or nitrogen. Such attractive forces forms a weak electrostatic bond, that is partially ionic bond, is called as hydrogen bond. So friends, one thing you have to remember here, hydrogen bond is formed when there is a electronegative atom, highly electronegative atom. So only fluorine, oxygen and nitrogen forms a hydrogen bond. If hydrogen is at the positive end and at the negative end fluorine, oxygen or nitrogen, then only hydrogen bond is formed. Otherwise that is called as just a dipole-dipole attractive forces. So the energy of the hydrogen bond is very less, that is 5.0 kilocalorie per mole, as compared to the covalent bond. Covalent bond energy is around 50 to 100 kilocalorie per mole. But it is much stronger than the other dipole-dipole interactions. So the dipole-dipole interactions are weaker forces than the hydrogen bond. Hydrogen bondings are weaker forces than the normal covalent bonds. Now we'll see the van der Waals forces. So the van der Waals forces are the temporary attractive forces. Dipole-dipole interactions and hydrogen bondings are the permanent attractive forces. But the van der Waals forces are temporary attractive forces arises in a non-polar molecules are called as van der Waals forces. So the van der Waals forces are the characteristic property for the non-polar molecules, while dipole-dipole interactions are present into the polar molecules. So this is the difference. Dipole-dipole is for the polar and van der Waals forces for the non-polar molecules. So how that attractive forces are generated into the non-polar molecules? Because there is no charge separation. For example, this is any bond is there, any molecule is there. So it contains so many sigma bonds, so many pi bonds. So there are so many bonding electrons, so many non-bonding electrons are there. Now molecule is non-polar because there is no charge separation. But as we know that the sigma bonds are not rigid. Those are getting contracted, relaxated. Some pi bonds are not localized, they are getting delocalized. These electrons also localize from one place to another place. So what will happen at the fraction of second, these electrons are moved towards the one of the side of the molecule, So one of the side is becomes electron rich while one of the side becomes electron deficient. Same case may happens to the another molecule also. One end is towards a negative side, one end towards the positive side. So this is called as temporary polarization. Now this polarization is very small. So because of this temporary polarization into the another molecule, so positive end and negative end becomes close to each other and becomes attractive forces. They generated some attractive forces because the opposite charges, and this temporary attractive forces generated is called as van der Waals forces. Again these electrons move towards the here, again these attractive forces loses. That's why these are called as temporary attractive forces. Similarly in these two type of molecules also, these are the charge separation, this is also charge separation, temporary charge separation. Because of opposite charge separation into the different molecules, there generates attractive forces. Those attractive forces, temporary attractive forces, are called as van der Waals forces. Those are observed into particularly non-polar molecules. What are the properties of van der Waals forces? Van der Waals forces are very short range and hence molecules have to be very close to each other to such forces to be effective. As the distance between molecule decreases, van der Waals forces increases. In opposite way, as the distance between molecule increases, van der Waals forces decreases. The van der Waals forces are very weak as compared to the dipole-dipole attractive forces. So van der Waals forces, attractive forces are very weak as compared to the dipole-dipole attractive forces. Always remember. That's why van der Waals forces are weak and dipole-dipole interaction are strong. Van der Waals forces are temporary and dipole-dipole attractive forces are permanent. Friends, now we'll see the physical properties of molecules, compounds. The physical properties of these molecules and compounds depends upon the various factors like attractive forces as well as repulsive forces present in the intermolecular forces as well as intramolecular forces. So physical properties are like melting point, boiling point, polarity, solubility. So now we will see that physical properties. So the physical properties associated with the molecule largely depends upon the type of bonds, which type of bonds are there, and the molecules may be ionic or covalent. So depending upon that bonds, molecule may becomes ionic like or covalent. So melting points. So what is melting point? The temperature at which solid will get melts. So the atoms more becomes more random. That is called as melting point. So this is the characteristic property for the solid compounds. The melting occurs at the temperature when thermal energy overcomes the intermolecular forces of attraction. So the energy required to overcome the intermolecular forces of attraction, that temperature is called as melting points. So the ionic compounds, there are two types of compounds as we know, that ionic compounds as well as covalent compounds. So depend upon the bonds. So ionic compounds are the strong electric forces of attraction exist in between the ions forming the crystal lattice. For example, NaCl, salt. So as we know that Na plus and Cl minus. So there is a large charge separation. One is cation, one is anion. So that attracts, there is a large or strong electrostatic force of attraction. That's why melting point is very high, that is 801 degrees Celsius. Only two atoms are there, but a large charge separation, strong electrostatic force. That's why melting point is very high, that is 801 degrees Celsius. But in case of covalent compounds, the covalent bonds, the smallest unit of their crystal is into the molecule. So there are weak intermolecular forces. So because of these weak intermolecular forces, their melting points are very small. For example, methane molecule, it contains 5 atoms and 4 sigma bonds, but their intermolecular forces of attractions are very less because that is non-polar molecule. Just in last slide we saw methane is a non-polar molecule. Dipole moment is very less, that is 0. That's why the melting point is very small, that is minus 183. So 5 atoms, 4 covalent bonds are there, but still the melting point is very small because methane is a non-polar molecule, while NaCl is completely ionic compound, ionic molecule, Na plus and Cl minus. So in this case, ionic compounds has a strong attractive forces as compared to the covalent compounds. So now we'll see the boiling point. The temperature at which the vapor pressure of the liquid becomes exactly equal to the atmospheric pressure. The temperature is called as boiling point. So here atoms are more random than the liquid also. So ionic compounds are having higher boiling points than the covalent compounds because attractive forces are more. Non-ionic compounds having weak intermolecular forces, that is dipole-dipole interactions or van der Waals forces, that boils at a lower temperature. So for non-ionic compounds, the boiling points are very less. So polar compounds having high boiling points than the non-polar, because in non-polar compounds there is a little bit charge separation. So dipole moment is there. So it has a partial ionic character. Polar compounds has partial ionic character. That's why polar compounds having higher boiling point than non-polar compounds. As the number of hydrogen bonding increases, the melting point and boiling point is also increases. So hydrogen bonding is one type of dipole-dipole interaction, but stronger than the dipole-dipole interactions. That's why as the number of hydrogen bonding increases, melting point and boiling point of the molecule is increases. For example, H2O, 3 atoms, 2 sigma bonds, but H2O, oxygen is more electronegative as compared to sulfur. So polarization is more in case of water molecule than the polarization in case of H2S molecule. That's why water molecule has a boiling point is around 100 degrees Celsius, while H2S is a gas, because sulfur is less electronegative than the hydrogen. So it's a gas, its melting point is around minus 60 degrees Celsius. So it depends upon the hydrogen bond. Oxygen forms a hydrogen bonding. Sulfur doesn't form the hydrogen bonding. That is the reason water molecule is more polar and strong hydrogen bonding and boiling point is higher. While H2S less polar, no hydrogen bonding, boiling point is very less, that is minus 60 degrees Celsius. Now we will see the third property, that is solubility. Solubility is the property of chemical substance called solute dissolves into the solvent. The solubility of the substance fundamentally depends upon the physical and chemical properties of the solute as well as solvent. So for example, NaBr is a solvent, NaBr is a solute dissolved into the water molecule. So NaBr is a polar compound, ionic compound that easily get dissolved into the water molecule, because water is also somewhat polar molecule. So Na is solvated into the water molecule, because water molecule contain oxygen, oxygen has partially negative charge and sodium has a positive charge. They will have attractive forces. Because of these attractive forces of the solvent as well as cation, whatever the sodium ion is there, that will get solvated and stabilized. That is called as ion dipole interactions. Similar case for Br minus also. This is the negatively charged, while water molecule contains hydrogen, hydrogen has a partial positive charge. They generate attractive forces. Because of these attractive forces, Br minus will get solvated easily into the water molecule. That is called as dipole-dipole interactions. So friends, solvent should have a high polarity and high dielectric constant. So solvent should have high polarity. Solvent should be polar for the solubility, and dielectric constant. The non-polar solvents with low dielectric constant, the ionic solids are insoluble. So it's like dissolves into the like. Non-polar compounds are soluble into non-polar solvents, while polar compounds are dissolved into the polar compounds. So like dissolves like. Polar dissolves into polar and non-polar dissolves into non-polar solvents. Alcohol, carboxylic acids are polar solvents and hence dissolve into polar solvent like water. So for example, alcohol there is a charge separation, oxygen is more electronegative, partial negative charge, while hydrogen is partial positive charge. If water is a solvent, it forms a hydrogen bond with this hydrogen by using this oxygen of the water molecule. Similar case for the oxygen forms a hydrogen bond with the hydrogen of the water molecule. So solvation of the solvation of the alcohol takes place by the hydrogen bonding. That's why alcohol, carboxylic acids or ammonia are soluble into water. But chloroform dissolves into the benzene. Chloroform does not dissolve into the water molecule because chloroform is a less polar than the water molecule. Thank you friends. Thank you for the watching.